if it works for you, I would love to do some teaching of the dominant drivers.
Okay, let's talk dominant drivers.
Yeah, it's hugely beneficial to parents, that information, because of expectations that our children are going to be the same as us.
Yeah.
But their dominant drivers could be completely different than yours. And then what that affects is the ability of the father to respect the son. So,
let's talk. First, can we define dominant driver?
Yeah, we'll do that. But then the other thing that I just would like to say is that Tiger seems to not need anything from you. Seems.
I see where you're going.
Yeah, but it's not true. Knowing you're there, that you dropped off the camping equipment, that if he did have a question, it would be safe to ask. Like, just knowing that you've got his back. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah. So let me give 3 possibilities of where we could go. So 1, we stick with this train of thought with the dominant driver, right? I love that. We could talk about the needing, not needing, how hard to push, how to be engaged. That's a topic I'd love to explore. And this, by the way, I'm giving 3 of like the 3,000 that I'd like to explore with you, that we need 30 days, which I understand.
30 days.
And then there's this other one where I had this vision of asking you about why you care so much, not only about this work, but like just we haven't spent a lot of time together, but in the times that I've heard you on other people's shows, right? Read your work or spent time in person with you, right? At that event in Colorado and now here, you're so engaged with this mission. You're so passionate about it.
Yes.
And then I was going to ask, where did that come from? But actually, before we started recording, you gave me a little history of where that came from, like the why behind the current mission, which I think is beautiful. Of those 3, do you have a place where your heart wants to lead us today of where to begin?
Okay, first may I say, if we could do it remotely, if we could do it on Zoom,
okay,
I would do as many episodes as you wanted to answer your 1,000 questions.
I love that.
Seriously, I'm not exaggerating. And when I do interviews, Leslie, who screens and sorts and organizes, asks me about them. And if it's somebody like, yes, I would do them again. Then a year from now, they'd be able to schedule again. Or it may be, no, it wasn't a fit.
Yeah.
Those are actually rare because she screens so well. And then occasionally it's like, have me go on again in 6 months, right? I told them schedule. We need to do a part 2. I just tell her, and I'm really straight about it. And when I met you and Eric, and I think others,
probably Brent,
I think I met so many of you at the big tent, and just like the instant, oh, I love what they're up to. And I tell everybody, there's this thing, it's called Front Row Dads. And they're not businessmen with families. They're family men with businesses.
Wow.
And I get like all wound up. And even when I was washing my hands, I was thinking about what shapes the kind of father a father is, and how it's tied in with dominant drivers. It's also tied in with stages of development, the capacities that a man has for being a father. Yeah. And, I have 3 kids. My son, his father was an early prince when he became a father. And he was mystified. He didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how important modeling was. And he only had his father as the model, right? And I didn't, so much I didn't know back then. But then my daughters, my husband of 26 years, he was a king when we met. And he'd given up on having children. It was a heartbreak in his life. He wanted them so much. He was really close to his nephews and nieces and had pictures of them all over his refrigerator, which I saw on our first date, like, oh, wow, family's really important to this man.
Yeah.
Okay, pay attention, right? Because I'm always listening. What matters to you? What matters to you? And so for him, for David, being a dad was a predicament, and he didn't really know what to do with this little creature. I got stories about that. For Greg, it was a privilege to be a dad. He was honored. When the doctor came to see me the morning after Claire was born, and I wanted to talk to him about what happened in childbirth that was so surprising. He's like, it all turned out you had a baby. And then he looked over at Greg holding Claire and he goes, well, Greg had a baby.
That's great.
Yeah, he got it.
Yeah.
And Greg changed more diapers than I did. And part of it was this desire to provide for Claire and to be with Claire. And he would look down at this little creature and go, do you want to freshen up? And there's this burly man, CPA, motorcycle riding, fast car driving, piano playing, music writing, poetry writing, Renaissance man, right? And do you want to freshen up? And I had learned enough about men at that point, which was only 1993, so 2 years worth, that I didn't show him how to change a diaper. I didn't correct him in changing a diaper. I didn't say anything about what happened with the blowouts. And I just didn't. And then he came to me and he said, I noticed that when you change Claire's diapers, she has fewer blowouts than when I, you know what I mean by blowout, than when I change a diaper.
Yeah.
Would you show me what to do?
Yeah.
Sure. And I just went in and showed him all the places to make sure we're tight, right? But he was never wrong. I was very conscious to not interfere with his parenting unless I had, okay, this is a concern for me. And, which was always overprotectiveness. He saw danger. He was banned. I banned him from Disneyland because it was like being with the Secret Service. Like, no, I'm sorry, you can't come. This is supposed to be the happiest place on earth, and you are no fun. You can't come.
Super protector.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was a huge thing for him when the kids were grown and gone to college, and he couldn't. There was so much he couldn't control, and he told me, he goes, well, I realized how little I could do, and so I made a deal with the universe. The universe is going to protect them.
Yep.
And
then he breathed. Yeah.
Yeah. But he was the one with the phone on right next to the bed. He'd get the calls at 1 o'clock in the morning. Dad, how do you change a tire? I mean, he was, as my son said, he was a stepdad. He's like, when he died, my son just broke down and said, Greg was the man. Yeah, just.
It's a nice thing to have been said about this human who contributed so much. I can't help but, imagine how good that must feel for any human to be thought of as like the man.
The man.
Yeah.
I don't know if Greg knew that it was like that for Jeff.
You're not like most men. You don't just scroll, you study. You don't just parent, you lead. And you don't just read, you implement. And that's why we made this, a no-fluff, battle-tested list of books that sharpen men like you. Picked by our tribe, proven in real life, these books are going to stretch your mind, fuel your growth, and challenge who you thought you had to be. These aren't just great reads. They're tools to help you grow as a father, husband, and a man. Get the list and all the insights that bring it to life at frontrowdads.com/books.
Screening is important. And I'd had men find out I had a child and they didn't even want to meet me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that that was actually a kindness that they did me. That if that was a deal breaker for them, that was awesome.
Yeah,
at first, it really hurt.
Yeah.
But so when Greg called me, and it's a whole different love story, but I very quickly said, I can only talk for a few minutes. I have to go pick up my son. And then I waited.
Yeah.
Right? My head is a sentence, if you're going to run now.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? No.
Your
son? You have a son? What's his name? How old is he? Where are you picking him up from?
Yeah.
Right? And I found out later, there's so many men, unlike what my mother taught me, if you have children, no one will ever want to marry you if you have a child by another marriage. And no, there are so many men for whom instant family is a miracle.
Yeah.
And even who struggle with, I'm in love with the child, but not the mother.
Yeah.
Or I'm in love with the child, but how the mother's I can't live with how she does it. I can't. And so for him, it had been love at first sight for him. He saw me from a mile away. He saw who I am from a mile away. He always did. But months later, he said, "Oh, that made you even more attractive." And my son was only 3 at the time, and so that was good, right? They got to do their thing.
That's cool.
But as he grew older and moved away with his father, when he was 5, it's a huge letting go for me. Then he'd come back, and now we had a baby, and Greg reacted to him like a tiger had just arrived. And he's just this little kid, right? He has the same beta thalassemia that I do, which actually stunts growth, right? And postpones puberty, right? So he's just this little guy. But Greg would act like a predator had entered our home, but this predator was madly in love with his sister. He was her first crush, like for her big brother. Just we even have a picture. She's newborn and he's holding her, and the look between them is already so. I mean, it was just it. But he would rush over, right? Right? And then as they got older, Claire would jump on him and they'd roughhouse and he's just going to get hurt. And I mean, those were the only fights Greg and I had, was about, what is this with you two? And can he even breathe? And Greg broke down weeping. And he said, I just wish he was mine.
Oh.
If only, I just wish he was mine. Because he'd come back with his dad's attitudes, his dad's ways of interacting, his dad. But then after, there would be this tussle, right? Between them. And then I'd think, honey, we need to talk, because we never did it in front of him or the kids. And what he would say, he goes, "Oh, he's such a fighter. I just love what a fighter is. I love how he stands up to me. It's infuriating, but I just so admire that about him."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holding all of that. That's incredible. A couple things pop up for me as you say that. One is, I have a buddy who said to me a couple years ago that he had been trying to have kids and couldn't have kids. And he said, have you ever done a show talking about dads who want to be dads that can't be dads. I talk to a lot of people who are knowledgeable in the men's space, the dad space. We talk a lot about children, but most of it is actually dads that I'm talking to, the vast majority.
Yeah.
And when you talk about, having somebody that responds so positively to you having a child,
right,
and wanting that family so badly.
Yes.
I can't help but think about all the guys out there that want kids that don't have them, or for whatever reason in this lifetime, that's not the path for them. Because I know quite a few now at this stage of my life who really want to be dads, who want the family. I know women too, of course, and who want to have children, and they're calling in their king, and they're calling in a child, and they're harvesting their eggs and doing all the things. And I just want to take a moment and just acknowledge, all of those people out there who really want that in their life.
Yeah.
And also maybe as a reminder to myself and to anybody who's listening that sometimes what you have in your life that can seem very frustrating today, is for somebody else their greatest mission, to have those frustrations, to have those challenges, to have the fights, to have the you drive me crazy, but thank God for you moments. So I just want to acknowledge that.
Wow. Let's come back to the fights one.
Good. Let's do that.
We'll come back to
Can
that.
Can we talk about fighting?
We'll just when I had the realization that what I had with Jeff's dad was never going to be a union, was never going to be a partnership. And I remember exactly where I was sitting, facing a wall at my desk. And I thought, I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life than not even have a chance at what I know is possible. And that's when I told him I wanted a divorce. And David had spent one night a week with his son so that I could work since he'd been born. He was a year and a half old at that point. And David's response to that was, okay, but I'm not losing my family. I want 50% and no less of being with my son. And I thought, yeah, right, that'll last. Right? That's what I thought.
Sure. Yeah.
It lasted.
Yeah.
And lasted and got bigger. And they lived 2 doors away from each other.
Okay.
Now.
Now.
As adults.
Yeah.
They live 2 doors away.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they're like this.
They're tight.
Although Jeff is very realistic about his father. He's like, Mom, my dad doesn't use words the way that you do. Precise, with commitment, say what I mean what I say. What those things he was saying, that was to impress his friends. That was entertainment. Oh, okay, don't take it too seriously. And so when he said that, I'm like, yeah, right. And then I checked in with my dad, who wanted custody of us when my mother divorced him and didn't get it because back in the late 60s, dads didn't get custody. That wasn't going to happen. Mothers are inherently better. Yeah, right. And so I asked him, I asked my dad about what was that like for you to have us every other weekend. He said it was horrible. He said, that's why I moved away. Like, what? He goes, I'd rather have you for a whole month in the summer and get to live with you than to be the entertainment every other weekend.
Wow.
And yeah, it was amazing. And that had me go to David and say, what kind of time do you want with Jeff? What kind of time? What would be quality time for you? Well, I'm a quality time person. He said, I don't want quality time with my son. I want to live with my son. I want to fight with my son. I want to argue with him about getting his shoes on. I want to do life with my son.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's this abrupt turnaround, and it was shocking to me, but it was, I want to fight with my son. And thank goodness David became who he became.
Yeah.
And it was such an out loud thing that as Jeff grew up and, so what do you want to be when you grow up? Right? That's a common question. And depending on his age, he would say, I want to be a fireman and a dad. I want to be a teacher and a dad. I want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was his ambition.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And he has a whole plan. He's 37 now, but he decided, I think it was like 5 years ago, he goes, in 10 years, I want to have kids in 10 years. And he has this whole plan. Now he's doing everything he wants to do before he settles down. He's a digital nomad. He'll be in Croatia and Barcelona and,
Good for him.
Yeah.
So adventurous.
And then, he's doing all these things now. And then he figures about like age 40, he has to seriously hunt the wife. And meanwhile, we've been having all these conversations about when it comes to that time, things to check out. And so it's to your thing about the people who want children and can't have them. One of the mistakes that our instincts cause us to make is not developing enough clarity about what we want in life and then figure out of what we're seeing, what are we unwilling to live without? And therefore, I call it own your ultimatums. And people hate ultimatums because mostly ultimatums are presented when the sense of the other person is that they're committed enough or attached enough or invested enough that they will submit to this. It's brutal. It's so brutal. And so own your ultimatums teaches people how to figure out their ultimatums and how to lead with their ultimatums and even how to listen to another person who's not stating their ultimatums, listen to be able to find out where they are.
Interesting.
And like listening to my boyfriend from the very beginning, I could hear his first priority is his children. And I was thrilled because I didn't want to be his first priority. Really, y'all have too big of capacities for a woman to be your first priority. You'll drive her nuts. You will drive her. Women think they want that because they're not getting enough attention and they think they want to go the opposite direction. I want to be his first priority. Yeah. No, you don't. Yeah. When my husband retired and he didn't have something to be up to, the kids moved out and he was retired.
So funny.
I was like,
yeah.
I came out and said, I cannot give you all the admiration you need. Yes. You need to start receiving it from other people.
I've heard this before multiple times from multiple different people too.
So the thing about being a parent, and I'll have women come to me, I want to be married by the end of the year and start a family. Okay, let's back up. If you had to choose between a partnership and biological children, which would you choose? I want both. I got it. If you could only have one, which would you choose? And if it's biological children, okay, go handle that. Either freeze eggs, right? Harvest eggs and freeze them if you're under 37 or about 37 is the max of that. If you're, or depending on what you think about it, have them fertilized, freeze the embryos. The increasing percentages of those, keep it increasing with technology. So deal with the baby part. And then when you have the baby, and if you have a sperm donor, now here's a child who wants to be its dad, who wants to raise this family with me. And there is no interference like Greg had from Jeff's dad, right? And that this is available. And if it's a partner is your number one choice, then set aside your timeline. Maybe have some insurance and set aside your timeline and go find the right person for you and the children you plan on having. You're not just looking for a mate, you're looking for a father What are the qualities you want in a father? What's his model of fathering?
Right.
And how does he feel about that model? David first was his father's detached model and then flipped it. God bless him and his participation in transformation. But we have to lead with it, with the risk. You know, at my first date with Greg, he said, "What are your dreams?" And I said, "I want to have 1 or 2 more children." And with my heart clutching, and I want to be home to raise them. A forbidden thing to say in 1991.
Okay.
Financially supported. I want to be an at-home mom. I want to be home to raise them. You know, Jeff was in daycare by 7 months old.
Yeah.
And I said, and I want to have a foundation to support people doing good work. What I didn't know, he was sitting there, what I didn't know is when I said I wanted more children, he said, in his mind, he thought, she should have 2 girls. And when I said I wanted to have a foundation, he thought, I want to fund that. And little did I know, I mean, I read How to Determine the Sex of Your Baby. He wanted 2 girls. He grew up with 7 of them. So he has 5 brothers.
Oh, wow.
He grew up with 5 brothers. He did not want any born boys. He wanted girls. Instinctually, I wanted to give him a son. I had to give him a son.
Right.
You know, Henry VIII, I'll die. I'll be discarded. Totally. But he really didn't want them. And when the amniocentesis said that Olivia was a girl, I cried. I called him and I was crying. It's a girl. And he's like, why are you crying? I wanted to have a boy. And he's like, you're crying because you're not giving me what I don't want? Yes. But when my son was born, the thought in my head was, I can do anything I want now. Like, this is my insurance. I've given birth to the son. I can do anything I want. It's an ancient thought. Yeah. And So I led with, this is what matters to me. Yeah. Greg responded.
For sure.
And little did I know that I would be the foundation that he funded. That my good works would be. He never expected me to earn a dime. Never. Even when he did the budget and he said, I can't buy a book. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, we have $5 left over at the end of the month. Yeah. I just figured out all the bills. We just bought a house, you know, house poor, all the things they don't tell you. Yeah. Add this, and this to the mortgage. Yeah. And
surprise, surprise, you ended up doing all right.
Yep. So it's just this thing of like, for a dad who's committed to being a dad. And I don't know if his ex-wife would have done the same thing, or she wasn't listening or wasn't paying attention, but she knew she couldn't have children, and she didn't tell him. So after they're married, she didn't tell him. So, I mean, talk about like betrayal, right? And so being clear about that, and then even going a step further. All right, so in being a dad, do you have to be the biological father? Absolutely. Maybe. No, don't care. Right? Whatever's the truth, because then that's going to determine. And where it stands. Is it a deal breaker or not? And one of the things that I have adored about men since very early on in studying y'all was the capacity that men have to father, period. That it doesn't require biological. It doesn't require. It just, if you allow me the accountability of fathering this child, which a mother has to grant, if she doesn't, it's a nightmare. But if she will grant to him, yes, I will honor you as this child's father. Now let's work out how to partner about that. Because there's an inherent conflict between judgment and unconditional love. At least as there's a perceived inherent conflict. Now, stereotypically, it's the mom with the unconditional love and the dad with the judgment. It's is instinctual to you as breathing. You have to judge. Not good enough, good enough. Not good enough, good enough. We will die, we will live. Right? You have to do that. But to women, those judgments are, they hurt. I have a physical reaction to them until I understood what they were. And so how do you balance this? And that they actually can coexist. And the way that I think of it is unconditional love is sunshine, water, nutrients in the soil. Judgment is the trellis that the vine can climb up on. And without it, and I'm a gardener. I have grown vines without putting the trellis there in time or big enough. They go crazy. They're a tangled, god-awful mess that can even strangle itself. Right? And
well, that's a great analogy.
Oh God, judgment, guidance. I did one of my informal surveys asking men, what has a man occur to you as a father? What has him seem like a father to you? Because men will say that. He's like a father to me. What has you say that? Can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a policy, but only for accuracy, not for effect, for accuracy. So for accuracy, what they said was he cares enough to tell me when I'm fucking up. Now, people would think like as a judgment, you can just like throw that off. Yeah, you're a fucking... No, like cares enough to tell me, like sit me down, son. Joe, John, Jeff, uncle, cousin, whatever it is. You're blowing it. You're better than this. And that's really the message of you're effing up. You're not an F up. You're better than this. And that you know that about your son, that you know who he is, and that you, even if he's doing what he's doing, which the hormones are crazy, that you remember who he is. And from time to time, like, son, you are better than this. And if you don't do better than this, the consequences are going to last a lifetime. They're going to last whatever they are, right? And which is, another part of parenting, dealing consequences, not punishment. Punishment.
Speak to that, would you please? Consequences versus punishment.
Thank you for letting me. I might be undirectable, but I'm interruptible and I'll go wherever you want.
That's good.
Feel
I love
free.
that.
Feel free. But these are, I thought it would take 2 or 3 months to learn everything worth knowing about men. I didn't know that I was literally stepping into a world, in a world that's a paradigm, right? With ley lines and all these connections, and one thing leads to the other, and I'm still. And I had this realization from meeting Dene and spending time with Dene after May, Dene Maria Sebastiani. I'm not ready to channel the King's Code. Being with you all as closely as I have watched for over 3 decades. There are things that I saw in that weekend with you all and have seen since. I might only be halfway done. The natural instinct to conceal and the assumption that women have of superficiality, which is such a lie, because and the things that I was made aware of, I mean, I'm going to have to do a whole inquiry now. I'm not even sure I'm going to do it because I don't have whole workshops in front of me and panels of men to ask. I mean, the big tent will become my panel. Could you please let me use this as my panel? Because I need inquiries into men's relationship to death.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, to you it's obvious, right? Like, because one of the things that just stunned me was, I think it's in Denny's memoir, about the ever-presence of death.
Yeah.
See, you say that like, duh! Yep. What? What? Women have an ever-presence of monitoring being hurt. We're so afraid of being hurt, physically hurt primarily, but also emotionally. We are scanning 24/7 for that. But we're not afraid of death. If a woman spends any time here, which is automatically connected to here, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Right.
But we have a sense of the eternal. It's part of who we are. It's part of our attractiveness to men, this other dimension that we can even embody if we work at it, like I have. And although not close to some people, but we don't interact with the inevitability of it, how soon it could be, how easily it could happen, or like once I realized that women gauge each other by, okay, which one of us will a man save? The assumption being that it'll either come from status or which one of us is more attractive. And it's like an analysis that happens in seconds. Okay, well, she's got that and that and that, but I've got this and this and this. And friendships between women happen naturally when the conclusion is, half the time she'll die, half the time I'll die. We can be friends.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. So when women, it's like, she'll always live, I'll always die. Nope. Not gonna. Or vice. I mean, it's so funny. But so I started asking men, okay, this is what women are gauging. What are you gauging when I meet another man? And we'll see what you think about this. Because one man says it, and then it resonates. Because one of the ways I study men is I remember being one. I have vivid memories of being one. So someone asked me a question, why does a man do that? And I haven't talked to a man in this lifetime about it. I'll automatically go to, did I ever do that? And it'll be right there. Why did I do that? And it'll be right there.
Interesting.
And then I'll go check with incorporeal
verify
men. I'll verify.
The download.
So do you do this for this reason? Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, right? And there's always an and. I learn more. Sure. So I checked this out, and there were two answers. The first one, which was like, what? Can I kill him? Huh? Right? And that led me to the paradox. You are walking resolutions of paradoxes. Opposite of simple. I mean, it's stunning that you could meet a man and realize that I have to kill him. You could meet a man and go, of course I'd die for him. He's more necessary than I am. He's the solution to the problem. He's the one that's going to save the village. He's the one who's going to make this out.
Yeah.
See,
what popped to me is, can he kill for me? Meaning,
oh no, I got it.
Yeah. Is this my warrior brother? Like, if I'm going to go to battle, like, is that my dude who's going to handle stuff with me.
Oh, this is hot. Well, can I tell you the second variation? The second variation, because I was talking about this in an Understanding Women workshop, which had women in it, and men, right? So I was teaching men how to understand women, and while the women were learning things they didn't know about themselves. And it's one of the places I recommend people start in our curriculum, and it's one of the reasons I gave it to all you guys. So a man came up to me in this workshop, and he told me two really interesting things. Well, three. First, he was a SEAL. He was a Navy SEAL. He says, so I don't have the question, can I kill him? I have the question, how can I kill him?
Interesting.
Those were the two variations.
Yeah.
You just added a third, which is awesome. That's oh God, I love new things. And so I have my enthusiasm after all these decades. And the other thing you told me, which was fascinating, because testosterone creates single focus, a committed state of mind. Estrogen, this does it in the brain, creates an open, connective state of mind. And so hunting mode and gathering mode, naturally, anthropologically. And what he told me is that they closely monitor the hormone levels of SEAL members. And that for mission, they want lower levels of testosterone.
Really?
You would think it would be the opposite,
I would
right?
absolutely bet on the opposite.
The reason being that the higher levels of testosterone, which creates single focus...
You lose team?
What?
You lose team?
It's worse than that. Single focus, once you commit yourself, especially to a plan or strategy, which you guys do is naturally is breathing. The frustration is when there isn't one to commit to because you're so naturally committal. You're nodding. Ladies, watch this. But what happens, and women take it personally. You're screening me out. You're screening me out. You're tuning me out. You've tuned me out. And I tell women, no. He's not tuning you out. His brain did it for him. Mm-hmm. So when you commit, your brain, and here's the tricky part, it screens out everything it thinks is irrelevant. It thinks. It doesn't do a consultation with you unless you're training your brain, right? Noticing what it pays attention to. No, we don't need to pay attention to that. Yes, we need to pay attention to this. You didn't look in the shadow, right? So all training is what to pay attention to and what to not pay attention to when you're training men. So they want the lower levels of testosterone because they're going into situations where the chances of executing a plan too low.
Fascinating.
Their minds have to be open to options, alternatives, and possibilities. Have to be.
I wonder what the perfect level of testosterone is.
I don't know. I didn't know enough about it to ask at the time. Now I know a whole bunch about men and women and testosterone. So they actually, he said, the ones on a high level are going to die. They won't survive being a SEAL. They're too focused. And like, holy moly. And I mean, just looking in your eyes, it came back to, we got to talk about dominant drivers because it comes back to, as a dad, if you're too focused, if you have a plan for your children, if you have an agenda for your children, if you have a where they're going to get to, especially if it's based in the potential that you see for greatness. And this is one of the things that ruins relationships between dads and fathers is when there's an athletic potential or your mind, you've got to be, you know, my little brother as a gift for languages. I mean, just teaching himself Sanskrit and Russian when he was 14 years old, right? So he went to Japan, spent a year in Japan living with a family that spoke no English. He went to school in Japanese. He came back at 16 years old, being able to read a newspaper. That's 1,000 kanji.
Wow.
To read a newspaper, right? So it was always like, oh, you should be an interpreter. You should be an interpreter. You should work at the United Nations. You should translate. You should this. Should. He's an organic farmer, and he's brilliant at it.
Yeah.
And he's happy because he's outside and in the dirt. Right? He's in the dirt. He grows exotic melons to perfection, right? He's patented his own sweet onion. He's hybridized tomatoes that Whole Foods sends a truck across the mountains of Colorado to pick up and take to the front range. I mean, he's a brilliant, and he's happy.
Yeah.
He's such a happy guy. So if there's a talent, if there's a potential, if there's an aptitude, the desire to have them fulfill that can create a focus that misses who they are, what they care about. And if you care about what I care about, you care about me.
Yes.
If you only care about what you care about for me, you don't care about me. I'm a tool for you. And if you're trying to optimize my potential, or you're trying to have me fulfill your dream, I gotta play pro baseball because you didn't get to. It's going to cause a schism, and that it will be heartbreaking for both of you. And so, to let go of the strategy, let go of the agenda, let go of, potential. When my children were born, this horseshit about fulfilling potential. Like, just because you got a potential, you got to spend your life on that? No, what's your heart's desire? What makes your heart sing?
Right.
When we talk about dominate drivers, we'll talk about the why, which is the hidden one. So it's, okay, I could go 1,000 directions. I'm going to pause here, take a drink of water,
great. Yes.
See where you want to
drink some water. This is great. One thing I want to acknowledge that I have struggled with, and I know other men have struggled with, is this idea of, hey, this skill that I developed, that I do know that you have the potential to develop, I found to be very, very helpful in life. And so I want you to develop this skill, and I'm going to push you to develop the skill. And I realize that all of this is on a scale of, is it a little or is it a lot? And there's a lot of places to fall in the middle. And, the question that constantly comes up to me is, well, how much do I push this or insist on this or say to them, I believe that you have more, right? I believe I'm gonna catch you in your blind spot, right? I'm gonna challenge you because I know that you're slipping, right? And at the same time, like, am I trying to craft too much in that process? Is the framing that I'm giving too much? Because I love the idea. I think it was an old Rockefeller quote about money to children. It was like, I want to give them enough that they can do anything, not that they can do nothing.
That's Warren Buffett.
Oh, is it Buffett?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So whoever it was.
Brilliant
idea and thought. And I think that applies to many, many things. Like, I want to give them enough framing to do anything, but not framing that restricts them in a way where I'm like, you need to play baseball because I didn't. So I want to acknowledge that a lot of what I've experienced in my 16 years, 17 years really, as a father,
yes,
and focused in this field, is the constant question of, that's a truth, but to what degree?
Yes.
That's a truth, but to what degree? How often, how much, and where do I push and where do I let up? So it's
I'm the horse behind the gate. Okay, is the gate going to open? Is the gate going to open?
One thing, and we should talk dominant drivers, so I want to bring us to that at some point.
We'll
and then,
get there.
Yeah. And also knowing there's not a tremendous amount of pressure to have to talk about everything on this one show.
We can't.
I'm very comfortable with wherever this goes.
But now I'm going to address what you asked.
Okay.
So, okay, it may not seem like I am, but I am. So, I distinguish the two different nervous systems because we have two.
Yeah.
Right? Sympathetic, parasympathetic.
Sure.
I think of sympathetic as instinctual. Limbic brain, lizard brain. Sam Harris taught me, always a split second in front of the prefrontal cortex,
Yep.
right? So the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what's extraordinary about it, is if I okay, chill on the instincts here. Could we move over into spirit? You have to try hard to not take a deep breath.
Yep.
Because that's how you switch nervous systems.
That's right.
So we're compelled to do it, right? Okay, here I am. So choice exists here. This is compulsion. This is choice. Do your hands if you would.
Yeah.
Let's get some kinesthetic in here. Okay.
I like it. Let's go.
So which one to you would represent instinct?
Let's do, I'll model you. So instinct here on my left. Yeah.
Okay.
And parasympathetic on my right.
Okay. Do you know why I do it this way?
No.
Because most people see their future to their right and their past to their left.
Mm-hmm.
So I do this to your left. Instinct is advisory and best left in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Choice in the future,
Mm-hmm.
right? Spirit, which is where choice lives. So, but I wanted you to do it for your body because you'll learn it better that way.
Okay. All right, cool.
So the instinct to train men, amped up by your son. This is your accountability. And I asked fathers the difference between what they were compelled to do with their daughters versus their sons. And they said their daughters to protect and to cherish. In the last 50 years or so, protect expanded to, instead of just find her a good husband, teach her how to change a tire herself, support her in having a career. Like it's evolved what it means to protect a girl,
Sure.
right? But then what they said about boys stunned me. So protect and to cherish, protect and to make him be a better man than I am.
Yep.
It's not just as good as I am.
Yep.
The desire, I mean, it's a humble day when you realize they're better.
My dad says that all the time.
But it's also a victory. It's also the point.
Yep.
Yes, he's better than I am.
Yep.
Wahoo. So
I want him to be better than me. I just want to make it really hard.
you're funny. So if you think of it, the instinct of how you want to shape your boys.
Yeah.
But add choice. And in particular, make the choice be theirs. So what I mean by that is first of all, for yourself, make a short list. This is the short list of the major skills that I would not be doing my duty. I would not be feeling my accountability if I did not transmit these to him.
Totally.
If he didn't have these. Make that short list. Write it down. Sit down with your son. This is what I hold myself to account to make sure that you have as you're becoming an adult. And I'm being transparent with you about this. This is my job. Now, and I'm going to do it. And I don't want to fight you over it, but I wouldn't be doing my job as your dad if I didn't do this.
Right.
Now, the questions I have for this, first, let's go over this list so it's clear what it means. You can see what we've been working on since you were 4, right? Let's acknowledge that, the accomplishments. You can even rate it. This is 50% done. This is 70% done. We haven't started that yet. Do you know, I haven't figured out how to do that. This is where we're at. So he can be like, oh, okay, this makes sense of my life and my father. Now, the question is, now you understand what it is. 2 questions for you. How do you want to learn that? And in what order do you think you want to learn it now? And you don't have to know the whole order, but what are you most called to, curious about, realize, yes, I need to know that. What does he see on the list as, oh shit, Dad,
right.
I wish I already knew that.
Yeah.
Right. And, since he has a girlfriend, one of the things on the list,
Sure.
how to be honorable with women, which another way you guys just blew my mind when I was there, the Men's Work Summit.
Mm-hmm.
It validated everything that I believe about you all.
Yeah.
and
Thank you for saying that. And real quick, I want to insert something here because this list and these conversations that we're talking about having, I want to acknowledge there's a guy in our group, Tim Nikolaev, who's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And we've put together recently something called, is a little bit of a commercial, but it's also props to the team.
Please.
So it's a resource for the guys. It's a family operating system that we've put together. Tim created this freedom framework where if his kids want freedom, I want a phone, I want a later curfew. We're speaking now about older kids for the moment, but there's ones for younger kids too.
Yes.
And these are the conversations you need to have with me before you get that privilege. So before you get the car keys, before you get the phone, before you do this, you have to have these 4 conversations with me, right? For each one. And you get to level up in your freedom. And if you do something to break trust or whatever it might be, you go back a level. You lose some of your privileges that you've earned. But his point is that you earn these things by having conversations with me so that if you want the thing, you have to talk with me about, safe sex, or you have to talk with me about drugs and alcohol. You have to talk with me about whatever it is, the things that he wants to have conversation. So I wanted to add that because there is a resource for guys that can speak to not exactly what you're talking about,
right,
but in the same vein, right, of what you're talking
cool.
about.
It's
knowing
super cool.
What you want, knowing what you value, and then having a way to have those conversations with your kids.
Yes. It's awesome. I would add, and maybe it's already in there, so funny that I would talk about teen teaching. Okay, tell me what you heard. Pretend I'm your son and you're teaching it back to me, or pretend I'm your best friend and you're now going to relay this information. Right. Teach it back to me.
That's right.
Then he'll know he got it and you'll know he got it. But then there's also demonstration. The conversation isn't enough. How much of it translates into real life?
The modeling from the father to the son, or father to the daughter?
Well, the father's got to model it.
Yeah.
That's how we all learn.
Sure.
Truly is by modeling. That's why in our Sex and Intimacy course, we ask people to write down, what did you witness and what did you learn? Not what were you told. But there's also...
So good.
Yes, but there's also got to be demonstration, right? Like when I talk to people about trust, because when you talk about if there's a betrayal of trust, right? What can you trust them for? So we've had this conversation, and based on what you've said and what you've asked, I have a level of trust of your understanding of what we're talking about. Now, in order to have what you're asking for, I'm going to need to see it made real. I'm going to need to see congruent actions. Yeah. So what you and I just talked about, how you interact with your mother, I'm paying attention to how much of this is in. What we just talked about here, where do you put the car keys when you get home? Are you showing respect for other people? How did you park the car? How did you take care of the car? This is all going to affect how much time you get in that car and how soon you might have your own, right? So because the conversations aren't enough. Now, I love what you said. You have to have these conversations with me because, so just to finish this business of choice, that he gets to choose the how. We're going to have a conversation, and then do you want to read a book? Do you want to watch a video? Do you want to talk to my buddy that knows more about this than even I do? Like, how do you want to learn this? And I mean, there's studies on this, but even school skills, instinctually, men are driven by, is this going to be useful to me? How will I use this?
Totally.
Right? And that's the mistake most schools make. So how will I use this in life? You won't. You need it for the test. Screw the test. I don't care about the test, right? I only care about the test if there's a thing I want to do that I have to go to college for, so I have to have a test result in order to get where I want to go. But a test for its own sake, to please you?
Yeah, right.
Right? So
you're speaking Tiger's language right now.
Right. So like my 3 kids, it was the whole point of getting good grades is to keep your options open.
Mm-hmm.
How you get good grades is you find out what your teacher wants and you give it to them. They have all the power. Don't argue with it. Just give them what they want. Then you'll get the grade. Then that'll keep your options open. And the only point of going to college is if you need a college degree in order to do what you really want to do. I'm a college dropout. 1 year at Claremont Men's College. But I have a son with a master's degree. My daughter will have a master's degree in another 6 weeks. My youngest has been saving for master's school since she graduated from college. Like which one's going to end up with a PhD? I don't know, but they're into it. But it was always for their own interest.
Sure.
Always, always, always. And so that's the thing that it's got to get hooked into. Like, I want to build sailboats. All right, you're going to need a heck of a lot of math. Let's go figure out the math while we build a dinghy together. Yeah. Right? And just to be willing to, okay, you get to choose the how and you get to choose in what order. And there's some things we're going to have to keep working on that you don't get a choice out. I'm going to keep sprinkling it in. And then now, okay, that's the list. And all right, that's what Dad needs me to know at a certain level before I leave the house. And you can have a partnership about it. You can play with it. And now you're not just this. Now it's like, yes, my dad wants me to be better than him.
Yeah. I'm going to tell Tiger that today. I'm like, I want you to be better than me, but I'm going to make it really hard for that to happen. It's my mission. And it just feels good to say. Yeah. It feels good to know that's what I ultimately want. And that is my truth, too.
And I will help you.
Yesterday, we were, for Ocean's birthday, we went to this movie theater that has this little arcade next to our home. And there's a punching bag machine, game that you hit it and see how hard you hit it. And Tiger and I were trying to outdo one another.
Yes.
And I beat him, but not by a lot. It was like, I was very impressed. And it just felt good to be ahead of him. But I'm like, I know that day is coming to an end. And, but I'm going to work really, really hard to be fit and focused and all of the things to make that really difficult for him. But it did feel good. But I saw it. He was so close that I was like, that's too close. That is, I used to beat him in everything. Now I'm beating him in some things, and other things he's absolutely destroying me. And it's both lovely and terrifying at the same time.
Wow.
So, Alison, I know that we have only a short period of time left.
Okay.
We talked about wanting to get to this driver conversation.
Yeah.
I know it won't be enough time to complete it, but maybe we can seed it and then we can tell guys where they can get more, or we can continue the conversation at another point. But how would you like to enter this conversation knowing we have 15 minutes left?
Let me see if I can break this down in the easiest way to make the biggest difference right away. So, through a very long filtered process, we identified six dominant drivers. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by dominant is that the compulsion to do this dominates. You will spend your time, your money, and your energy on these things even when you don't have enough. And your dominant drivers are visible. You could I could follow you around and I would know what you were driven by. It's you see it. You can see it in a checkbook. You can see it in a calendar, right? Those are your dominant drivers. And we'll come back to the hidden dominant drivers. Mm-hmm. So these are the 6 dominant drivers. And while we were taking our little break, I was thinking about something I hadn't really paid attention to, but in the context of dads, which your job is to, instinctually, your job is to ensure your son's survival and that they have the ability to make and ensure their son's survival and so on.
Yeah.
Right? So let's start with the 2 that are most obvious for survival. Building. Being compelled by building. Building a business, building a legacy. That might include building a family is part of that vision. Building a name can show up, right? Being known, I will be remembered by, right? Goes back to that presence of death, right? It feeds that. People compelled by building interact with things often with, what could I do with that? Building, and use it to build. So that's obviously, you can see,
Clearly.
Necessary for survival and highly valued.
Yep.
Highly valued in our culture,
For sure.
and in many cultures, but not all cultures. The second that's also highly valued, we call knowing. So it's the acquisition of information. How much have you acquired?
Would you call that wisdom?
No.
Okay.
No. Someone dear to me defines wisdom as knowledge plus love. Wisdom is how you know what you know, and it's what you're doing with it.
Okay.
It's huge. And knowing is it's the acquisition of knowledge. And this is one of the things that probably made Tony Robbins famous as he is, with an eidetic memory and a voracious hunger to acquire knowledge. That's has him be able to do what he does. And but knowledge, obviously, building the knowledge, survival, key to survival, highly valued. And then like used to be all about the initials after the end of your name, until the Bill Gateses and others are every one of those titans is a college dropout. Which one is it? I forget.
Multiple.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they became irrelevant.
For sure.
Right. And unless that's what you value, is formal education and accreditation and all that stuff. So those are obviously survival related. Other things that people are compelled to do, you could call it sharing or togetherness. They're whether it's one-on-one togetherness, or it's a pod, or it's a group, or it's a community, or
we call that a band in Front Row Dads.
A band,
4 to 8 guys.
Good.
Yeah, we call those bands.
The band, yep. So and so compelled to do that, and I could talk forever about all of these.
Sure.
So we'll just say that, but it matters depending on one's own desire in pairing and in mating and in supporting your kids. Is like what I say is, I have one USB port. If we had just one other person here, if you guys weren't on the same page, it would drive me nuts. I can be with 1,000 people as long as we're working on one thing.
Right.
So sharing could be a one-on-one kind of thing, or it could be the more the merrier. Right? And if someone who treasures one-on-one time marries someone who's a more the merrier, when do I ever get you alone? Do you always have to invite other people to this? Right? So there's a lot that goes on there. Historically, women compelled by sharing, married to men compelled by building, become his secretary, his accountant, keeps the books, just so she can be around him. I just want to be around him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So these things happen in relationships.
For sure.
So sharing, obviously, we wouldn't survive as a tribe without that being compelling. So it definitely
Building, knowing, sharing.
Building, knowing, sharing. Now, another that can get confused with knowing, and sometimes they partner, but it's really important to see the difference, is growing. So I used to lump together, I called them knowers and growers, because it wasn't distinct for me. And then they're so different. So knowing is about acquiring information. Growing is about who are you becoming.
I see.
And the knowing can help the becoming. Knowing can stint the becoming. Like it could stunt it. If someone's just obsessed with knowing and pays no attention to who they're being, who they're becoming, what their capacities are to relate. Another thing that the men's work is so beautiful about. So growing is not so obvious as a survival mechanism if you're looking at it from the point of view of an individual. As a species, I loved it when I saw it that Stephen Hawkins had said that that the something like I forget how he put it, but it's the same way that I think that we're doomed by our instincts. If we don't overcome our instincts, all is lost. Yeah. So growing is critical to species and planetary survival. These other ones are interested in, valued in different ways. Expressing. So compelled by expressing. And so they're often considered artists. They often make things tangible. So they make ideas visible. They make feelings hearable. Right? Poetry, song, right? So they're compelled by expressing. There's something that I've got to make available to the world. Now, it's interesting because I have a friend who's a tremendous artist whose father and son's compelled by building. So they kept wanting her to have art shows, kept wanting to do all they were trying to get what she did built out there, made into something. She did a project called the 99 Names of God that includes gold leaf embedded in these paintings this big. They're stunning. She'd finish them and put them in the attic. Her job was done.
Right.
It came throughout, it's physicalized, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right? So expressing is an interesting one. And then the last one is the most misunderstood. And this is why I wanted to tell you about this. Because when I taught this initially as a teleclass, there was a dad who was on the conference call with us. And when I talked about this one, it transformed his relationship with his son. The last one is enjoying. Compelled by enjoying. Now, what's interesting about enjoying is it could be anywhere from pure hedonism on one side to having fun. Let's have fun. Let's make sure it's fun. Our company, we have a principle. We have fun as an integral part of our work and accomplishments. But it could be all the way over to finding the joy in grief, bringing joy to the world, embodying joy, breathing joy, showing up in, oh my gosh, this was who my husband was. My husband, he's joy. He is pure joy. After he died, this bolt of light came from this other man in Canada at the horse course, hit me in the chest, made a crater, and it felt like a like Greg curled up like a snake or a dog would, circled around and then settled down, just lived there.
Mm.
Really hard to grieve when your late husband is embodied in your chest and emanating
interesting.
joy.
Yeah.
Very, very hard to be a normal widow. Yes.
Wow.
So joy and enjoying, joy is synonymous with happiness. This is a spiritual quality. It can go from the physical to the spiritual and even blend them. Men know more about this. It's called making love. The physical is made spiritual. Women want that, but we don't know how to cause it. And so what happened was this dad, and he broke down in tears. This dad who was compelled by building, had been berating his son for years. When are you going to get serious about life? When are you going to get serious? When are you going to buckle down and get something done? And when I was talking about enjoying, it's like, oh my gosh, that's my son. He brings joy everywhere. He causes joy for others. And he started telling me all about what this young man had organized his life around, even in the face of his father's huge disapproval, disregard, no respect, no admiration. And that's what transformed me. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of my son for who he is. And it just, I want to quit trying to get him to be compelled by what I'm compelled by.
Yeah.
And as you know, every single one of these compulsions has huge costs. Huge. That's why front row dads.
Yeah.
Most of y'all are compelled by building and that you've reoriented the table so the centerpiece is building family instead of building enterprise.
Yeah.
That's choice. That's a conscious choice to make, and it has costs in things that are valued by many people and for sure in our culture. So when you can find what people are compelled to do, that's then will shape how they experience support and appreciation, which men normally interchange those two words. I feel supported when you appreciate this. I feel appreciated when you support me that way. They're a bundle.
Yeah.
I saw this yesterday talking to Chris Williamson. I'd never seen it before. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a bundle to take care of. Like, how can I take care of you? What would feel like taking care, that you were cared for? Got to find that out, right? To take care of, to support and appreciation. They're a bundle. And part of what makes someone the right person is you can get enough of all of that from them without pulling teeth, right? They give it. So you can know how to support, you can know how to appreciate, you can show care. Okay, hey buddy, don't you have something at 7 that's important to you? I see how you lost track of time. You're having a ball. Yay for you. Oh yeah, shit, thanks Dad. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's just those kinds of things. And so the hidden part, I'm not doing so good at 5 minutes. So the hidden dominant driver, oh my gosh. This is why I am how I am after all these decades. The hidden dominant driver is your why. Why? So you're compelled by building to what end? And when you get to the end of the why do you do that? Well, in order to have this. Well, why do you want to have that? In order to have this. In order to. When it is for itself, like, well, duh, that's the end. That's the ultimate end. That's the why. So I know someone who builds and grows so that the people she loves enjoy their lives more. It's all about enjoying. And she thought she was such a serious builder, and she is. Multiple businesses. But she's all about enjoying.
Mm.
I thought I was a build together with people that I enjoy. That's who I am. If you followed me around, you'd see me building only and always with other people and people I had fun with. And I enjoyed who they were and how they beat. And no, guess what? Duh. My why is expressing. That's my why. And the expressing, I'm not like Catherine. The painting is the painting is made. My expressing isn't complete until it arrives at the other side, which is why I've had to pay attention to all the learning languages. Because what I make physical, what I make verbal, what I make into a chart and a mathematical calculation, I'm not done until it gets over there to you. So the times that I would see it touch you, see you move, see you nod, see you laugh, those were all, yes. And the why is what makes the other things fulfilling. So you could build, you'd have $1 jillion in the bank, but if your why is enjoying and your children take it for granted and it's not precious to them, the experiences you made available by what you spend money on, if they're not enjoying it, if they're like, do I have to? The why isn't fulfilled. And once we see what we're compelled to do and we see our hidden driver, which it is hidden, it's in the blind spot, a whole other topic. Takes a lot of trust to let somebody work in your blind spot. It's the scariest thing, because the blind spot's right next to your brilliance. Right next to it. No, but I'm good at that. No, you're not hearing me. But I'm great at that. I teach other people that. No, you're not hearing me. You're not seeing me. I am. But it's that place behind the back of your head I want to talk about. Oh, ultimate trust to let someone. Anyhow, so the why is in the blind spot. And then when it's seen, when people see it, they're moved to tears or they giggle. And often it's like, can I really be that? Is that okay that that's the point of my life? And whatever that why is, it'll be the point of their whole life. It'll be the point of their relationships. It'll be the point of them being the fundamental expressing of being a dad, the fulfillment of being a dad. And the way one of my students put it, because we trained people to coach people in this material, and she blew my mind. She had nailed it. Her name's Martina. She speaks like 5 languages. She lives in Germany. And this was her sign-off teaching, right? And she said this thing that blew my mind. She said, when you're living your why, you need no appreciation from anybody else. Living our why is self-regenerating. And so ever since I finally got, funny that I would build a publishing company that publishes my expression. I don't want to build anything else. I built a publishing company for the purpose of the expressing. Oh, duh. And then I started going, okay, and this is critical. What's enough expressing? Whatever your why is, what's enough of that? What is enough expressing? Have I expressed enough today? Have I expressed enough in this decade? And at this point in my life, I turned 65 on Sunday. At this point in my life, I'm in my, what if, right? Actuarial tables predicting how much longer I'll live. I can probably count on something like 4,000 days, 83. I don't know. I forget what the number came down. I guess 8, whatever it is, it came down to 4,000 weeks or something like that. Anywhere between 83 and 100, depending on the exactness of who's guessing. But I can see that where I'm at now is what I am expressing, and many of them I call collections. It's bringing together distinctions that when worked with each other, it's exponential, the effect.
Mhm.
So I'm collecting these things and we got to get that recorded. We've got to get that recorded. It used to be if Alison is hit by a bus, we would record everything. Then I moved to the country. There are no buses. If Alison's hit by a truck, they changed it to. But now it's the opposite. It's now, okay, how long is this piece going to last? And the recognition that I am the tenant. It is the landlord. It can eject, as Greg's body did. It can evict me at any moment without notice.
Totally.
And I call it this body, because as long as it's this body, there's two of us and we can partner. So what does this body need? This is why I have a hyperbaric chamber. What does this body need to have this piece last long enough for me to express what is yet to express? Yeah. And then the other joy, and why I do so many podcasts with such a variety of people sitting in your chair, is because how you're listening to me, what you're paying attention to, what you're asking me, how you're receiving it, in these conversations, I've gotten to say things I have never said. I've got to put things together. This whole thing we just did, figure out the what, make it a finite list, then share it with him and have him get to decide the how and the when. Never said it, ever. Never put these things together. Yeah. And oftentimes I have to, for different reasons, I'll watch something that I've recorded. I didn't know what I said. I don't remember saying it. There is so much coming through. And I just laugh. I was telling my best friend before you arrived, I said, I can barely control what comes out of my mouth. How does anybody interviewing me have any chance?
That's really funny. That's funny. That's great. I love that. That's wonderful. Well, let me say this. One is I just know with absolute certainty why all these people want to interview you. Like, you're so lovely to be around. I like several times through the show, I was like, oh, I know why everybody wants time with you, and why there does need to be some strong filtering of the conversations and the invites that you'll get, because you're just a lovely person to be around. So I want to honor that, and I want to thank you so much for sharing your heart and your love and your enthusiasm, your knowledge, your wisdom with me and through all of this. I want to also acknowledge that in your story, when my eyes started to tear up, it's because, and I'm going to see if I can make it through this. Yesterday, for Ocean's birthday, to turning 11, he gets this Nintendo Switch that he really wants. And I can't set up one of his games on it. And he really wants this game.
Yes.
And this dumb, stupid, I want to curse. Like, I want to, even right now, I want to curse the game and the software and the logins and the passwords. And I could not figure this out. And I'm a fairly skilled human who can get stuff done.
Yes.
And I worked at this and I worked at this, and I was getting so frustrated.
Yes.
And eventually he started to feel my frustration.
Yes.
And he then started internalizing, like, my gift is the cause of my dad's pain.
Right.
And I could see it happening right before. And I'm like, I just want to get this figured out so you could be happy. It's like, that's what it feels like. This is your great day. This is a fantastic day. And it's going to be great. And you're going to be happy. And I'm going to figure this out. But my builder was in full effect.
Yes.
My creator, my provider, I am focused. I'm going to do this. And my frustration in it not happening was impeding on, and it was squashing the joy of the day, of my son, of his main driver, which was just joy.
Yes.
And I saw them butting up against each other, and I felt afterwards when I just clearly, like my energy field just squashed the room.
Yes.
I felt so much heaviness around that, shame around that, regret around that. I was like, I'm 50 years old. I have 2 boys. I'm in the dad space. And I've said this so many times on the show that when it comes up, when I make a mistake that I think is a mistake, I'm unaware, I'm unattentive to the field and all the different people, and my builder took over, and then my trauma set in, and I was tired and frustrated and all the things, and I didn't perform in the way that I would have scripted it, what I've written in a book of what to do, right? I can see it now. I'm like, oh, you just be like, no problem, we got this. Hey, why don't we put this aside and go throw the football? Like, I could think of 1,000 ways I could have handled it better.
Right.
And I just wanted to share that with you, and I wanted to share that with anybody who might be listening to our conversation, because that was really hard for everybody.
Yes.
Right? For Ocean.
Yes.
And it was hard for me.
Yes.
Because I felt so much shame about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish we had another 2 hours to talk about all that and how these drivers show up in our families, for the dads, for the kids, for the spouse, like all of that. But I did want to tell you that.
Yeah.
It's very relevant. I really appreciate your story. And it brought up a lot for me.
May I?
You can. Yeah, you can. But we are we're
What time is it?
I actually don't even know these guys. I don't even know. Like,
okay,
yeah, we're way over.
This is important.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll wrap with this. We'll say this is our landing of the plane.
Okay. So, and you may have heard me say this before when I was on stage. Many men think that the feeling of shame means that they were dishonorable.
Mm-hmm.
And they're horrified by that. Only honorable people feel shame. Shame is what we feel when we failed to be our own highest values.
Mm-hmm.
We failed to be who we are as spiritual beings, you could say. And we see that harm was caused. Harm was caused because I failed to be what's most important for me to be. And my husband was the one who said the worst thing about shame is it separates us from our spirit. Which is why that feeling, which I think is the worst of the 3 worst feelings that human beings experience, is something to head into. What's natural is to head away from it. Don't feel like that again. Hire somebody to put the damned game up next time, right? Just like stay away from that domain of failure. His next birthday is going to be perfection, right? Yeah, there's all these decisions that we make. But it doesn't work. So heading into the shame, okay, so I harmed Ocean on his birthday by getting caught up in having that game up for him instead of being present to him. Or however you would word it. You can do it in writing, even. You just write it down. I harmed so-and-so when or by. No justification. And then if you were to do it with a human being, which you just did it with me without knowing it, then how I hold space for what we call noble forgiveness is I hear you as an honorable man owning the harm that he caused by betraying his own self. And the response is, thank you for owning that. That's honoring of you. to honor, that's who you are. Thank you for owning that. Do you forgive yourself? And we call it noble forgiveness because to forgive yourself takes courage. Yeah. You guys naturally pay penance. You will pay penance for the rest of your life. That's easy for you guys. But if you forgive yourself, which reunites you to your spirit, what shows up is like this life calling you back. We've missed you. We need you here. Come back. Oh, shit. I could fail again.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if I do, I'm only human. I'll own it. I'll forgive myself. And I'll commit again and again and again. And the trick is not to decide what you're going to commit to until you've forgiven yourself. Because up until then, penance wants to take over and you know, okay, this is how I'll make it up to them. This is how. No. Forgive yourself, and then spirit opens and what's calling to you. And it's so much bigger and more beautiful than what we can think of when we're stuck in the shame.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's one of the most important things for men to do, especially because, unbeknownst to women, you hold yourself to account. I'm going to start on this journey. I thought I knew so much. Now I got a whole other level to go. Because you all hold yourself to account for a standard of being and behaving and performing that is unthinkable to women. And we mostly think you can't be held to account. Because when we try to hold you to account for acting like a woman, to do what a woman would have done, you refuse. And I hope you keep refusing. When you stop refusing, you're now self-emasculating. But when you refuse to be held to account for acting like a woman, we think you can't be held to account for anything. Yeah. Because we think we're so right. Yeah. And so women completely miss how much you hold yourself to account for. You actually have Superman standards for yourself. And what happens, a dynamic that happens is that when a man is experiencing shame, if he voices it, she'll do what a man does when she says, you hurt my feelings. He'll try to logic her out of it. She tries to logic him out of it. Honey, because we hate that you feel bad. Yeah. We can feel how bad you feel, but we don't know that it's not a hurt there, it's a hurt there. And we're like, but honey, you couldn't have been there. She was in Europe when it happened. Yeah. I should have been there. Yeah. Honey, that's illogical. You couldn't have been there.
Exactly.
She's basically saying, darling, you ain't Superman. Lower your standards. She just insulted him to try to make him feel better. She's insulted him because he holds himself to Superman standards. And it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. You should have been there. That's how my husband was when our daughter was in an accident. Yeah. Not far from here. College. It's a town.
College Station?
College Station. She was in a bad car accident in College Station. I should have been there. Yeah. Thanks, honey. Thanks for being that way about it. How soon do you need to get there? So, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I can imagine being Ocean, who just wants you to have fun, and Dad's not having fun.
Totally. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. We did end up having fun after that. I asked for a reset, and he was very graceful, of course. And, but yeah. So there's a lot more to say about that, but we'll continue this conversation at another time. And thank you so much for the gift of this conversation this morning. It means a lot to me and really enjoyed it. Yeah.
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 You are welcome. And given what my life is for, you gave me the gift.
Thank you so much, Alison.
Yeah, welcome.